Welcome to this Sunday's Gospel Reflection. Today we're celebrating the Holy Family. And of course, it's a day, a time to say a big thank you for our families, with all their weaknesses, their limitations, but the great love that we have received from them. Let me start with just a little story as usual. The little child was impressed when his dad's big boss came to visit their humble and poor house. The big boss could not stop talking about himself, how in spite of himself coming from a poor family, he had made such a big success in his business. He was constantly repeating over and over again, "You see, I am a self-made man." The child's poor dad was, of course, mortified to listen and just nodded silently to all the proud bragging of his boss. At one point, the little child could not take it any longer. He pulled at the boss's expensive trousers and said, "Sir, so you did make yourself who you are today?" The boss, glad that he had impressed that little child, quickly replied, "Yes, of course, I made myself who I am today." The little child quickly retorted, "So, if you have made yourself who you are today, couldn't you have made yourself a little bit better?" You see, no one is self-made. We are who we are because we were born into a family that loved us, a family where we belong. But then, of course, everything depends on what we do with what our families gave to us. Rather than talk about the family today, I thought I would invite you to take time to reflect about what our family is and means for us, with all the positive, negative, and mixed realities of every family. First of all, start by saying thank you. No one chooses which and in what kind of family we are born. For what would you like to say thank you to your family? Do not stop at the family in general, but think of its members, starting from your dad and mom, brothers, sisters, relatives with whom you have grown up. What quality do you appreciate most in your mom, in your dad, in each of your siblings, relatives? Try to recall a word, a gesture, some advice, an inspiration that has remained with you and for which you are so grateful. Then say a big thank you for all the good things that your family has given you. Their goodness has become the gift for you. But now recall also the hurts, the pains that you have received from your family. Do not be afraid to touch the wounds. Even if our families love us deeply, they are also the ones who can hurt us deeply. Go through each family member and serenely recall when, how, in spite of their good intentions perhaps, and love for us, they might have hurt or damaged us. Recall the shock and the pain you have experienced by their limitations, their defects and weaknesses. But say a big thank you for these hurts that have prepared you for real life, where other people, life itself, have surely inflicted upon you along the years. So many lessons learned, so many tough decisions taken, so many challenges that brought out the best within us. For all the failures that taught us how to accept and grow through the harsh realities of life, say a big thank you. Now take time to recall some of the great lessons that you have learned, together with the joys and pains that were part of your growing up. Recall that wise advice in your teenage years, coming from your elderly auntie perhaps. Recall the big mistakes you made, the great price you had to pay for them. Say thank you for the fact that you could have not survived these mistakes without the support of someone in your family who walked the walk with you, who remained there by your side through thick and thin. Say thank you and embrace that person, even if he or she is now departed. Try to make now a list of the words of wisdom your dad, your mom, or any other family member have said to you, and which have remained with you all your life. Think of some advice, some fundamental truth about life, people or yourself that have remained with you and made an impact on who you are today. Recall now also the difficult people you have met in your life's journey. Think of people who have been a pain in your back. Recall their hurtful words or actions, their betrayals, at times even their cruelties. Don't be afraid of the wounds and the scars that such people have left in your heart and in your soul. Have a closer look at the hurts and the wounds and ask yourself, what have I done with the wounds that the others have inflicted upon me? Have I allowed them to define who I am today? Have I allowed these wounds to fester and infect my inner well-being and serenity, turning me into a bitter person? Have I submitted inwardly to the abuse and allowed the hurts to decide who I am or who I became? What have I learned from these cruelties and injustices of life? Have I allowed them to make me bitter deep inside and rob me of my self-respect and dignity? Now, ask yourself, what great gift has remained with you throughout your life, thanks to your family? Which blessings have you received through your dear and loved ones? Even in their limitations and their weaknesses. Try to recall a great act of love, a kind and generous gesture or action from anyone in your family that has marked you deeply and made you who you are today. Go through the list of family members and see for what you wish to say thank you to each one of them. A lesson they have taught you, an example that inspired you, a correction that revealed to you the better side of who you are, an act of selfless support when you needed it most, a word of comfort and encouragement when you needed it most. Take time also to present your life story to God and ask yourself the same question that little boy of the story asked that big, proud, and self-conceited boss. If you have made yourself who you are today, couldn't you have made yourself a little bit better? Remember, others may affect us positively or negatively in a million ways. But at the end of the day, only we can decide who we are and who we want to be. Because who we are depends on to whom we choose to belong. That is family. God bless you and thank you.